so
we're live now.
okay, we'll get started here in just a moment with the pre-meeting.
Live now.
Okay, we'll get started here in just a moment with the pre-meeting.
Live now.
Okay, we're gonna get started with the pre-meeting. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. This begins the pre-meeting for the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing on May 7th, 2020. During the pre-meeting, staff and zoning board members review cases. There is no participation by applicants or by the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard, applicants will present, and public comments submitted after staff reports were compiled will be read into the record. After the conclusion of the hearing, deliberations will follow. The zoning board will take action on cases that were heard at the public hearing. There is no participation by applicants or the public. I ask that all staff and board members mute their microphone at this time and keep themselves muted unless they are going to speak. Johanna?
Before we discuss the cases, I wanted to let you know that we have to amend your rules and procedures. As you know, this meeting is in its format remotely because of the governor's emergency order and also requirements and orders that the mayor issued. And in addition, we had to amend the zoning code in a couple of respects. The manager of zoning also had to make some interpretations, and now you're going to have to amend your rules and procedures. And these are all issues that address the in-person appearance at this meeting, and so I'm going to read there are about 5 or 6 sections of your rules of procedures, and I'm going to just summarize them. And at the end of that, I'd ask one of you to make a motion to amend your rules and procedures, and then after that, we can proceed. So section 1A has language currently that requires meetings to be held monthly or more frequently, and we had to change that, and we may have to change it in the future. So we're going to ask you to amend the rules and procedures to provide that the meetings may be held as reasonably determined by the manager of zoning. Section 8C of your rules had some deadlines. And actually those have been changed also by the mayor's emergency order, and we ask that you extend those deadlines. Section 12A is amended to suspend the right of an attorney of the party or their attorney to appear in person. As you know, we're doing all these meetings remotely, so there's no in-person appearances. And it also talks about persons signing a speaker's list. Well, that also can't happen, so we're asking you to suspend that requirement. Section 12B also has language about an appearing party, agent, or attorney. And so we want to also clarify that there are no in-person appearances. Section 14A talks about the record being available for public review and in-person review, and all records related to this hearing are going to be on the city's website instead. And section 14D is amended to extend the time period for sending out the written decision. And that is currently 10 days, and we are now extending that to 15 days. So those are the changes to your rules and regulations that need to be made to allow this, this meeting to proceed. And I would ask one of you to make a motion to amend the rules and procedures accordingly.
I'll make a motion to amend the procedures accordingly.
Second.
I'll second that.
Can the chair take a vote? And we're going to, all our votes tonight are going to be done alphabetically. And the chair has a list of all the board members in alphabetical order. So if we could just go through that, we'll be doing this all night. Yeah.
Jim,
Yes.
Lashana, is Lashana there, Anna?
She's there.
Should I continue? With
Yeah.
Okay, David. I think David's muted.
Everybody has to remember to unmute when you are voting.
David, can
Yes.
Thanks, David.
Okay.
Lorraine?
What? Did you say?
Yes, or we're voting?
I know, did you say my name?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Yep.
Cora,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. And we're just waiting on Lashana to record her vote.
Anna, do we know where she is? She here?
She just left the meeting. She was in and looks like she's trying again.
Okay.
I'm wondering if her internet restarted.
All right, she's coming back in. Looks like she's figuring out her audio. Oh, she had to leave. Oh. She's here and she's muted. I'm gonna unmute her.
I wasn't, if it was for Lashana, I was trying to mute myself.
Oh,
How do you vote, Lashana, for the motion? Did you hear the motion?
No, I did not. I apologize.
Johanna, summarizing.
Lashana, let me briefly explain what happened. So we are amending the board's rules and procedures, and there are about 5 different ones that all pertain to in-person appearances, either at this hearing or for submission of documents or review of documents. You're doing this as a remote hearing. We need to change some of the requirements in your rules and procedures. And there's another one that is extending the time period for sending out your decisions from 10 days to 15 days. So those are the amendments to the rules and procedures. And if you are in favor, we would ask you to vote, and we will be able to close this. Is that adequate for to explain what we're doing?
Lashana, was that adequate? We're voting. Everyone has voted. It's just a yes or no. Can't hear you, Lashana.
I will vote in to support the motion, to approve the motion.
Okay.
All right, the vote's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Okay, so at this point, we will, excuse me, we will begin going over the cases. Oops. So please note that, and I'll say this again during the hearing, all of the cases that are on the agenda this evening are a holdover from our March 2020 hearing, which was canceled as a result of the governor's executive order and the mayor's local emergency order. So these cases were all originally scheduled for March, and that's what we're reviewing tonight. So case number 1, excuse me, is file number V-032-1920. This was held from the January 2020 zoning board hearing. This is 55 Rockwood Street. The applicant was seeking to replace the existing east-facing sign with a larger digital sign and increase the size of the west-facing sign, keeping that conventional, and then to raise the height of the sign structure. Any questions on this one? Okay. Go on to case number.
Matt, are we
Yes.
going to confirm that who visited this site?
Yeah, we can. Do you want to do that here?
Yeah, I think, why don't we do that here, and then that will be announced at the meeting, right, by the chair? Isn't that the way we decided to do it?
Yep. Yeah, we can do that. So Tyrese, if you could just do the alphabetical list right now, and
So we're not going to do it during the public hearing. I didn't realize we were going to do it during this part.
yeah, we'll do it now, and then we'll have you just announce the members that visited the site.
Okay. Okay. So Jim, did you visit the site?
I did.
Lashana, did you visit the site?
Did I visit the first site or the second site?
The
The
first
first.
site.
I did not visit the first site.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. I didn't realize we were doing it that way, so I need to keep track of that. 1 second.
That's okay.
David, did you visit the site?
Yes, I did.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
Yep.
Cora, did you visit the site?
I did not get to the site, no.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. We'll go to case number 2. Jim, did you visit the site?
Yes, I did.
Lashana, did you visit the site? Lashana, can you hear me? Are we having a connection issue, you thinking, Matt or Anna?
Let me just pull this up to the right case here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I see that her audio is connected, but it could be a connection on her end.
Your screen is out.
Tyrese, why don't you go ahead?
Frozen. Okay, so your internet went off. Okay, they were just trying to figure out. Okay, so you'll try to get back in if you can. Okay, thank you. She's resetting her internet, so she's frozen right now. Okay, so we'll move on. So David, did you visit the site for case number 2?
I'm gonna go ahead and unmute David.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, never mind. He's got it.
Lorraine, did you visit the site for case 2?
I did.
Cora, did you visit the site?
Yes, I did.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. Case number 3, Jim.
Tyrese, let's just, oh, I guess, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go through all the cases, then we can do questions. That's a good idea.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which way did
No,
you?
no. That's a good idea. Let's do it that way and get it out of the way, and then we can go through questions.
Okay. Jim, did you visit the site?
I did.
David, did you visit the site?
Yes, I did.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
I did.
Cora, did you visit the site?
Yes, I did.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. We'll go to case number 4. Jim, did you visit the site?
Yes.
David, did you visit the site?
No, I didn't.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
I did.
Cora, did you visit the site?
I did.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. Case number 5. Jim, did you visit the site?
Yes.
David, did you visit the site?
Yes.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
Yes.
Cora, did you visit the site?
I did.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. Case number 6. Jim, did you visit the site?
Yes.
David, did you visit the site?
Yes.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
I did.
Cora, did you visit the site?
Yes.
Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. For cases 7, I'll do them 7 through 9. So for cases 7 through 9, Jim, did you visit the site?
Yes.
David, did you visit the site?
Yes.
Lorraine, did you visit the site?
I did.
Cora, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And Joe, did you visit the site?
Yes.
And I visited the site as well. So we'll record LaShawna when she gets back on. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, Tyrese. So we talked about and I will reiterate that during the hearing, so you don't have to ask again during the actual public hearing. You don't have to worry about it. So we went through questions for Rockwood. Any questions on 725 West Ridge Road? This was the Royal Car Wash sign package that was held from the 220 zoning board hearing. You had requested, you being the zoning board, had requested some modifications to the proposed detached sign. Any questions on this one?
No, for me, I was glad to see they came back with a monument sign.
Okay. All right.
Now, Matt,
Yes.
Hey, Matt,
David,
just a quick question.
regarding,
Could you,
I like that sign.
Let's, I'll answer Joe's question and then we'll get to LaShawna for the sites.
can you have Anna remind us again how we get the raise our hands for the questions? Are we still doing that?
Yeah, how do we
Yeah.
respond?
So what we're going to do during the hearing is for questions, Tyrese will just poll you at the end. So the applicant will make the presentation. And then Tyrese will just go in the alphabetical order to inquire if any board members have questions for the applicants.
Okay, so we're not doing the hand raising thing?
No, it seems to
Okay.
work with just polling the person
Okay.
just one at a time. And let's go through and Tyrese, if we want to address visiting the sites for LaShawna, we'll get that captured right now so it's done and out of the way.
Matt, Dave
Yes,
Carr.
David. Yep.
I have two questions. Two of the properties is in my area. And I've been working on them for the past three years. And how do I address that? Is that
So what you can do, and I'm going to defer to Johanna on this. He can abstain from the cases.
David, what is the extent of your involvement on these? What does that mean, work on?
for Rochester Prep? Uncommon Schools had contacted me from New York about a year ago and wanted me to help them bring the project on Hudson Avenue. And I did. Me and the mayor worked on it very extensively.
Okay,
And we worked on it together.
okay.
And it's there. And I let everyone know that I did work on those projects, and also for CBS Monarch also.
All right. Yeah, I think then you, when each of those cases comes up, you should abstain from the vote and not be involved in the hearing or in the deliberations or in the vote in any respect on those.
Joanne, I just have a question about this, because you put a lot of time and effort in. I can get. Well, let me back away from that. I know, because I faced this many times, and I just have a problem. I'm getting to have a problem with it, because you're putting a lot of time and effort into these projects. You want people to know what you've done and your involvement, and that shouldn't weigh anything.
Yeah, David. So that's a question we can, or a question we can certainly chat with you about answering in terms of involvement in projects at some point down the line. Is that acceptable?
Well, see what it is, because I'm gonna have quite a few more coming, and
Yeah.
I need some kind of satisfaction for myself, because I get to the point that I'm here, and then I have to remove myself and not letting people know the involvement. Because
David, I'm happy to talk to you about this. I know this has come up before, and that's why I sort of ask you what your level of involvement on the projects was, and it will depend case by case how involved you were. So it's a little hard for me to evaluate that right now, but and we want you to participate in as many of these cases as possible, but but you really shouldn't, where you have been very involved in the development of a project, because then there could be the perception that you've already made up your mind about something. So let's have a talk about that. I'm absolutely happy to chat with you about that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, David. Tyrese, if you could, let's poll Lashana. Lashana, we went through and polled the board members for which sites they visited.
Okay.
So, and instead of doing it during the actual hearing, I can just report it, and then it won't have to be polled during that time. So I'll have Tyrese go through with you, and I'll make note of it.
Okay.
Lashana, case 2,
Yes.
case 3,
Yes.
case 4,
No.
case 5,
Yes.
case 6,
Yes.
and cases 7 through 9.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Lashana, what about case 1?
Case 1, I indicated no.
No, you did indicate no. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, so thank you all for doing that. I will address that during the hearing. Any other questions related to case number 2, 725 West Ridge Road?
Nope.
Okay, case number 3, 1290 Lake Avenue. Legalize the construction of a accessory structure in the parking lot along Maplewood Avenue. Any questions on case number 3?
Nope.
Yeah, I do have a question about.
How did they get that far down the road?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
The question has to do with the term that they're using about this not being a permanent structure. I don't quite understand it.
Mhm.
get the impression, and of course we'll find this out, I'll ask it during the hearing. I get the impression they're gonna build this and then take it down and build it and take it down possibly. But when you ask for something that's temporary, don't you have to have some kind of a date on there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in terms of temporary structures within the zoning code, they are generally related to construction projects. So construction of a building, construction of something going on. So temporary structures are typically contractor storage operations for the time being. So when it comes to a structure like this, when them calling it temporary, we process it as a variance because we're not putting a timeline on it per se, because there's no way to account for it within the code as temporary. So if they're requesting it to be used as temporary, you can certainly question them on what their intent is or what their plan is with it. But in terms of the variance, the property would retain rights with the accessory structure.
Thank you, Matt.
Now, Matt, one question, David. By there being no time limit on temporary, shouldn't we have some type of statute where we have a limitation as far as time is concerned?
Yeah, so our code does not have temporary variances. So you guys have seen this before when it comes to, for example, pools. Pools are technically temporary as driven by the weather, but the person's gonna set their pool up each year if it's like an above ground temporary pool, so to speak. So you may want to inquire with the applicant about what they're defining as temporary.
Okay.
But in terms of the variance, we don't have a way to grant a temporary variance.
Okay.
Any other questions on Lake Avenue? Okay, let's slide on down to case number 4, 72 Hickory Street.
I have a question, Matt.
Yes.
So if the applicant, if the homeowner, I should say, if the homeowner would have, even though they took the enclosure down, if this would have had any type of rooftop to it, would it be before us, or would it still be considered a deck if it had any type of accessory roof on it?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It would not be before you if it was completely roofed. A porch is defined as a roof structure.
Okay.
A point of clarification, and I'm going to talk about this during the hearing, so it's on the record. The code section on the staff report is correct. The language should be modified to reflect the legalization of the removal of the porch and the construction of a deck in a place where it's not allowed, because the deck that was constructed, the structure that was constructed, is in an area where the original porch was. So it's not a yard. It's not a yard area. It's something was removed without a permit. So what that means is a deck needs to be either in the side or rear yard, and this is not in one of those yards because it was part of the original construction of the house. So what is allowed there would be a roof structure, in answer to your question, Therese, and it would not be before you.
I have a question too.
Yes, Cora?
So if there was a roof, it wouldn't be before us. And what if it was just shorter? If it wasn't a deck, it was just like a little entryway and not as long as.
Yeah, the problem with that is you can't remove a porch from a house that originally had one. So because it was originally there, and we can confirm that with our Sanborn maps. So
Because no matter what, the enclosure is considered a porch, even though it was enclosed. It was considered the front porch.
correct, because it was not an actual space. Any other questions on this one? Okay. All right, guys, give me just 1 second, please. I'll move on to the next one. I've guys, bear with me 1 second. We just had a internet go out and I need to get that back up and running. Bear with me 1 second. Hold tight for me. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Let's get back up and running here. Okay, moving along to case number 5. Any questions on case number 5? This is 155 Westminster Road to reconfigure and increase the size of 2 existing dormers to facilitate the increase of floor area on the 3rd floor. Any questions on case 5?
No.
Is there any way that I could see the color photos for this?
Sure, I'm gonna keep scrolling if you're looking at the screen. So this is the floor plan. And these are the photos that were provided. I'm just trying to see if there's any additional color ones. Okay, give me a second here, guys. Okay. LaShawn, in answer to your question, this is everything I have in here.
Okay, I kind of figured it. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, this is everything included. Any other questions on Westminster?
No.
So there's not any expansion of non-conforming use. The 3rd floor apartment is.
No, so I believe it's included on the front of the staff report.
Okay.
Let me go back up here if everyone's not dizzy. Here we go. So the certificate of nonconformity. So what's part of the staff report is the certificate of nonconformity. And what that is the applicant applied last fall, I believe, October of 2019, to prove that the 3rd floor was actually built as a finished space. So the property is legal as 3 dwelling units. You are looking at the expansion of that. So it's not that he's adding a unit, it's that he's expanding one of the units. Does that make sense, Joe?
Yep, okay.
Okay. Case number 6 is 8-14 Mark Street. And if everyone, wait a second here, I'll be there in a moment. Uh, 8-14 Mark Street. This is to construct an approximate 35,000 square foot addition to an existing school, not meeting certain lot area, yard, and bulk requirements. Any questions on Mark Street? All right, and then cases number 7, case number 8, and case number 9 are one project, as you know. It will be what will become 3 separate parcels. I'm gonna pull it up here.
Can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
I can't remember exactly which applicant put it together, their submissions as like one big package. Is this the same type of situation if all 3 of them are not approved, the entire project is not going forward?
Yeah, it's a good, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a good question. LaShawna, you'll want to inquire with the applicant on that. So it's a very large project, as you know, which has a lot tied to it in sort of all areas. So you'll want to clarify that with the applicant. The variances are of course separate because there will be 3 separate parcels. And each parcel has sort of somewhat different buildings on it. Of course, the mixed use building on parcel 1, parcel 2 having 2 different kinds of buildings, and then parcel 3 having 4 buildings, which will look like one of the buildings on parcel 2. So certainly some questions you can ask to the applicant. I do think it's a good idea to hear them all separately because just what you're saying is they are all different. So I think that would be a plus to be able to do that. And then you can hear a little bit about the details of each of the buildings being proposed. Any other questions on the CDS Monarch project? You're looking at a map here. I'm going to outline what would be parcel 1, what would be parcel 2, and what would be parcel 3. It is my understanding that all of the land under consideration, with the exception of 6 Theodore Street, is currently vacant land. Any questions on
Matt, I have a question. This is Joe.
Yep.
On both this project and the previous one, case number 6, and then 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
It appears that the drawings, both the building drawings and the civil drawings, are completed to a point where they're ready for permitting. And I'm just curious how they got that far down the road with, and then maybe it's just their own risk of possibly getting denied any of these variances, which would basically change the configuration of the site, possibly the building sizes, et cetera, et cetera. So
yes.
It makes me, it almost takes away it's almost fait accompli. So I know these projects are very important to the city, but I just wanted to know if, the zoning board should weigh in much earlier in the design process before they get so far down the road with their final drawings.
Yeah, so it is a good question. So part of it, of course, is the applicant risk, as you know. You guys as a zoning board have seen all sorts of projects come through in all sorts of stages. I think this one being, I think there's a couple factors, and I definitely want the applicant to speak more to that. But I think the fact that it's been delayed, I do believe there's probably financing tied to it. So I don't know if there's certain milestones they have to meet and prove before they can do anything. But definitely ask them about that, inquire about it, and they'll be able to give you a lot more details about the project. And hopefully that'll answer some more of those questions.
Can I add to that? This is Tom in zoning.
Tom is, Tom, I forgot you were here. Thank you. Tom is the site plan reviewer on this project as well as the previous one.
So these 2 projects, being that they went through site plan review, we require them to have very detailed kind of finalized drawings. So that's why they're pretty far along. If they would just submit a sketch or a concept, that's not enough information to go through site plan review and for all the different agencies to comment. So that's why they're probably so complete.
Did these go to the planning commission? for
Yes.
approvals?
Yep, both of them went to the planning commission. The school was approved with, I think, a minor change to a landscaping. I think it was just a very small condition, the landscaping of a parking lot.
Okay,
And this one got approved for the multifamilies, which are your second and third cases. So both of them have already gotten through the planning commission process.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions on cases 7 through 9? If not, we will take a short recess. It's about 5:47. The public hearing will begin at 6 p.m. And at that time, we will have all the applicants one by one present their cases, and we'll go from there. So again, the public hearing will begin at 6 p.m. And to the board members, you can stop your video for the moment, and we'll get back on at 6 p.m.
Matt. Hello?
Yes,
Dave.
David?
My grandson was leaving and I want to know if it's okay to leave everything on. In case I may have
Oh,
any problems.
yes, absolutely. Leave it on. Yep, not a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Make things easier. Yep, no worries.
Oh, God.